wish I could do some of the movements that Emily was showing you, but I've had both knees and a hip replaced, and I'm afraid that metal shards would start flying off my body into the audience and start hurting people. So I'm just going to introduce myself. My name is Dudley Tower. I'm 65 years old, and society says that I'm retired. I want to warn you right now that I am not a public speaker, but I do teach a program of courses on optimal aging at one of the largest learning and retirement programs in the United States. And I'm here today to talk to you about the fact that conventional retirement just no longer makes any sense, either at the level of individual quality of life or the health of our society. Plus, because of increasing longevity and the new science of aging, I believe it's now time for us to start considering this period of retirement as actually a whole new stage in life, perhaps even a whole new third in life, one where we actually believe that this is a new beginning and not the beginning of the end. I've always thought that there was something crazy about retirement, the whole concept of retirement. And so I looked up the definition online and came up with the following. To withdraw from one's occupation or position, usually upon reaching a certain age. Well, this is true. I no longer work for a living, and this is great. I now spend all my time doing things that are much more interesting and meaningful to me than I ever did when I was working for someone else. So this is a good thing. To withdraw from use or active service. Now, why would I want to do this? I really think that I'm smarter now and have more to contribute than at any other point in my life. Plus, for the first time in my life, I feel like I could really be of service to other people and make the world a better place to live in. To take out of active circulation. Now, this is almost too ridiculous to comment on. I'm 65 years old, not 105. Plus, there is something about this concept of being out of active circulation that feels like I've been put out to pasture, that I'm being rejected. And it goes completely against my basic human nature, which is to always be improving myself. To go to bed. Now, this is the one thing about the definition of retirement that I can agree with. I really enjoy taking my naps. But seriously, if we look at this definition of retirement, we can see that it implies that it is natural and perhaps even desirable for a person to disengage from the active world as they get older. Nothing could be further from the truth. This chart depicts normal retirement. This is the way it's normally depicted, but it depicts normally retirement as a slow and steady decline in our average quality of life. Now, quality of life means different things to different people, but there's usually some kind of physical and cognitive components of our definitions. There's probably not much that we can do about the physical decline that we're going to experience as we get older, except spend hours in the gym. But neuroscientists have a concept called use it or lose it that describes what happens to our brains if we suddenly retire and withdraw from society and stop using our minds in new and meaningful ways. Simply stated, we begin to lose the neural pathways that give us our skills, our capabilities, and the wisdom that we've accumulated up to this point in our lives, and then we have nothing to replace these neural pathways with. Scientists have shown that this can actually cause a shrinkage of up to 30% in certain portions of our brain. 30%, think about that. So why does this matter? What do we care about a handful of old people? Well, the fact is we're not a handful of old people anymore. In fact, people 65 years and older are now the largest growing segment in our population, by far. And it's mainly due to the wonders of medical science. Back in 1900, the average life expectancy was 47 years. Today, it's 79 years. And this is average life expectancy. If you're currently 65 and relatively healthy, you're probably going to live to be 90 years or more. And then there's also just the sheer volume of the people that we have in the world today. There were only 3 million people in the United States in 1900 over the age of 65. Today, there are around 50 million people. This represents 15% of our population. And this number is going to grow over the next 15 years as the last of the baby boomers reach retirement age. So think about this. This probably represents the biggest the most significant demographic shift in the history of the world. Each of us now have about an additional 20 to 30 years of active, productive life after retirement. This represents a whole new stage in life. One where we've got many of us have the time, the resources, and the capabilities in order to do almost anything that we want. So what are we going to do besides take naps? My vision is that there's 50 million older geezers like myself out there working actively to improve the world. I think the possibilities of having such an active group of engaged individuals out there in the world, I think the possibilities are endless. The only question is how do we develop critical mass of older people that really have the capability to effectively address the issues of our society. The most important thing we can do to improve our health, our brains, and our quality of life is to actively engage with the world with new people, new ideas, and new ways of doing things. Engagement is more than just keeping active. Being active does very little to keep our brains healthy or to improve our quality of life. But engagement really means to mindfully interact with other people in such a way that we can find new purpose in life, and then to meaningfully engage with that purpose on the edge of our comfort zone, where we're excited, passionate about the subject, where we're using all of our skills and capabilities, where we're continuously learning new things, where what we are doing is growing as a result of our actions and is in service of something greater than ourselves. If we can do this, we will improve our quality of life in spite of our aging bodies. And we also just might come up, we might be able to turn around the so-called problem of a rapidly aging population and turn it into an opportunity. So we know that meaningful engagement can lead to improved quality of life. However, there's one additional thing that we need to add to this definition in order to make this really happen. Engagement also is the feeling that we're moving forward, that we're accomplishing something of importance to ourselves, that we're growing and developing as a person, that we're making a difference. Scientists call this the progress principle. Abraham Maslow called this the self-actualizing tendency. Many Eastern traditions call this the enlightenment drive. Whatever we want to call it, we seem to be born with a need to constantly be improving ourselves. And as we improve ourselves, we need to be constantly improving ourselves, constantly progressing. We need to find a purpose in life that gets us out of bed every morning with a fire in our belly. We need to find something that's going to make us feel more alive, something that's going to keep us more motivated, and something that's going to energize us in this last third of life. Retirement is not going to do this. It won't even come close, but engagement will. So what I hope you go away with here today is an understanding that conventional retirement just doesn't work, either for the individual or our society. And just like when we were children, and we needed an education and training in order to go out and go into the world and raise a family and create a career for ourselves, older people today need an education and training about how to age optimally in a rapidly changing world. The problem is there are very few structures in our society today where this can be accomplished. I have demonstrated in my own work that it is possible to put together a program of courses on optimal aging that does improve the quality of life of older people. And I do believe that there's a series of existing structures in our society where we can deliver this message. The United States has an extensive network of lifelong learning programs located in almost every major college and university across the country. I believe that we need to put a program for optimal aging into each and every one of these institutions. This is not only something that's desirable, but this is perhaps the only way that we can prepare older people for this last third of life. So in conclusion, for the sake of your health, your brain, your quality of life, and perhaps even the future of our society, we can never think about retiring. Instead, now is the time for us to engage even more actively with our interests. It's time to find our own unique purpose in life. It's time to integrate as many practices from the science of aging as we can into our daily lives. We need to keep growing and developing as individuals, and then who knows? Not enough people have ever done this to say anything with certainty, but it's got to be better than retiring for the next 30 years. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.